Love and light, my friends, coming at you from Hampstead, North Carolina, down by the coast. Well, let's get out here and get into it. Hope everybody's doing great. Cannot see my screen. It's too bright. Let's talk about the beauty of sickness and disease. If there is such a thing. But actually there is, because once you realize that sickness and disease and anything contrary in our lives is telling us something, and once you realize everything comes down to frequency, I'm gonna get back in the car so it's not as loud with the vehicles. Once you realize it has to do with frequency, then it's really a good thing, because if you can get your frequency right, then your sickness or your disease will disappear. So sickness and disease can really only exist within a certain frequency. And if you're sporting that frequency, then you might be sporting whatever disease or whatever sickness corresponds to that frequency. Just like if you're sporting a high vibration or a high frequency, you are content, healthy, and you feel great. And that has to do with frequency as well. But we might not know that. We might think it has to do with whatever, something else. And same with sickness. We might think, oh, it has to do with genetics, or it has to do with something hereditary. These are beliefs. So if you believe that cancer, let's say, runs in your family, and so you're sort of, expecting cancer to maybe show up because it quote unquote runs in your family, but it doesn't run in your family. Now that frequency might run in your family, or that wrong thinking might run in your family, and I hate to even say right or wrong. I love it when we get past this whole idea of right or wrong, because there really is no right or wrong, but it's hard to communicate this kind of stuff without using these words. But it really all comes down to your beliefs, as usual. What you really believe, what you really think. And so your family members might have got you thinking this way. So let me just use my own self as an example. Seemingly, I could probably say depression runs in my family, because a lot of people in my family have struggled with depression. So therefore, it must run in my family. It must be some sort of a genetic thing. And therefore, we can just sort of expect it. And see, there you are creating your belief. You're creating your expectation. And so when it manifests, now you want to run to all these different, possibly, you want to run to all these different places to try to get it fixed. So you might run to religion and try to get a bunch of people praying for you. You might run to a psychic and try to get clued into your future. You might run to the doctor and try to get you some meds. You might run to a shrink and try to talk it out. And that's all fine and good if that's what you feel to do. But really, you're complicating something that's really kind of simple. Belief and expectation bring about our experience. So you believed it ran in your family, therefore you expected it, and when it showed up, you weren't really surprised, but yet you're trying to act surprised. Because of course anything that shows up in our lives that we deem bad or negative, we kind of get surprised by that, and we're like, well, we better try to do something about it. And see, if you could just do the same thing about it that you did in the first place to get it, then you wouldn't need to run to all those people I just mentioned. You could just get a hold of your own mentality. Get a hold of your own thoughts. Get a hold of your own beliefs. And physician, heal thyself. But if not everybody's adept. Not everybody is at the higher frequency. Not everybody can even begin to see what I'm talking about right now. Because if your frequency isn't at least up to the baseline level of where this kind of knowledge pops out of hiding in plain sight and becomes visible to you, then you just don't see it. You just cannot see it. And that's not a judgment against you. Temperature too high.